Hi everybody, welcome to Collab 365 Global Conference 2016. Thank you for joining my session today on changing the way you work with modern SharePoint team sites and Office 365 groups. I'd just like to say thank you to the organizers of the Collab 365 Global Conference for their efforts into organizing this wonderful event and also giving me the opportunity to present this session to you. So I really hope that you find this session useful. So just quick intro about me. I'm Chirag Patel, an independent consultant at Patel Consulting, specializing in Office 365 and SharePoint together with SQL Server technologies for a number of years. I've had the pleasure to work with a variety of projects, carrying out SharePoint upgrades and migrations, as well as some of the database work with SQL Server, and also worked in various disciplines as a SharePoint administrator and database administrator, and worked with a number of partners, small and large, across the UK. So feel free to connect with me. That's my contact details, Twitter, LinkedIn, and if I'm able to help you out in any way, feel free and get in touch with me. And just some of the qualifications there are the CITP, which is the Chartered IT Professional. It's the qualification through British Computer Society, which basically helps me to keep abreast of the IT industry through the Skills for Information Age framework. So follow the good practice around the developments in IT. Just very quick, I've got some other sessions that I've presented in other events like SharePoint Saturdays, so you can feel free to access those as well. Much of those presentations are around SharePoint and Office 365, so hopefully you'll find those of use as well. And just as a sort of, if you like, as a scene setter, before we go into the SharePoint demos, just wanted to sort of really put this slide, if you like, just to kind of understand that, in terms of as an information worker, we're kind of expected a lot to deliver in as less time as possible, and basically be part of multiple workloads. And so the points are always around, how best can we be effective and be more productive in what we do, heavily reliant upon the technology that enables us to do that. And certainly in the case of SharePoint Online, this year, since the beginning of May, lots and lots of changes have been announced, and some of those changes have come through to the tenants at every level. So in terms of to help us to do our jobs properly, and in terms of being able to achieve our objectives and our outcomes, working with information is more important than ever before, and more importantly around working with the relevant and recent information as possible, and not having to sort of spend time looking for or asking for information, and then be able to sort of drain the productivity around that. What also helps is obviously being able to be part of the trusted culture and networks, information networks, if you like, being able to sort of tap into the resources of people. And that really helps. So we'll cover through the SharePoint demos that a lot of those points come together really nicely through the modern SharePoint online experiences. So in particular, we're going to cover things like the multiple home pages that we have with all the snapshots kind of data available to us, and also we'll go through a couple of SharePoint sites and the group site as well, if you like, which is based on SharePoint, and also the actual fundamental changes in experiences and the integrations in the document library and list. So really this is what our session is going to be about, and we may touch on other integration points as well, like the Power Apps and Delve to help us do that. So the Office 365 homepage, so let's just jump over to our demo. So here's my demo tenant I have, which is on Office 365, completely with all the apps that I have access to. The data in here is of a fictitious company called Contoso, which some of you may have come across and be familiar with some of the users and document, but nevertheless it's just a sample data to help us get through the demos very quickly. So when I come to log into Office 365, the portal, the landing page, typically I see a search bar, the number of the apps that I have access to, together with some of the recent documents that I've been working on. So for example, I've got documents coming from a number of sites as well as the OneDrive folder. Obviously this view does not tell me which site it's from, but it's more concerned around the documents that I'm working for. And then I'm able to even create new documents here as well, which will go and store into my OneDrive area as well. So very fast and very quick to get access to the information that I'm really working on, and being able to generate documents freely in sort of 1 or 2 clicks. I can even search here, which will search across all the sites and the groups. So if I type in launch, then as I'm typing in, is obviously giving me the results straight away there, which is what we kind of need. And then if I go and search on that, then it's giving me further more details, categorized if you like, in terms of SharePoint, as well as in what's in my OneDrive, and also if I have any emails or any attachments containing in those emails, it will bring those results as well. So very handy search results page on the Office 365, and really kind of to get them quick and easy without going into SharePoint. This search results can be very quick and snappy on that. So if we then head over to the SharePoint app. So if I now go to SharePoint, so this is a SharePoint homepage, not a particular site or a team site. This homepage contains whether it's a site collection or whether it's a sub-site, or whether even if it's a Office 365 group. It doesn't really matter what those sites are or in what navigation hierarchy there are. It just literally lists each site as a card, and for each card I'm able to follow by just clicking on this here, or I can it tells me for that particular site, Contoso Beta, I've got the top 3, if you like, the documents that I've either modified or viewed, and when that was done as well. So really highlights the information that's really relevant to me, and in terms of the analytics, it gives me exactly what I'm looking for without having to even search or to navigate anywhere else. So very recent, very relevant. If I scroll down, then I also have some of the other sites there as well, which suggests that I can follow. And all this data, as you may be aware, is obviously gathered by the Office graph. So really rich data there. On the left hand side, I've got again, these are all sites, so it's obviously categorized by what I'm following, which are the recent sites I've worked with, and also the featured links. So these are almost like organization links, so that the administrator can actually set this up, so every user will see this based on the if they got access to it, or you can have your external links there as well. So if I search, and just as I'm searching through there, obviously it's brought me up again in terms of the data that I've worked more recently. So it doesn't list me anything else there other than just the file names by files categorized here, or the sites that I've been working on. So very handy to know that, again, before I type, it knows exactly what my recent is. And if I use the keyword again, launch, then again below launch it'll show me one file, and then if I hit enter, then I've got the SharePoint results page. So again, this results page is all within the SharePoint homepage that we were just at, and by searching for launch, it's giving me the 4 or 5 sites, as well as some of the documents in there as well. So this is giving me across all the sites or site collections, and then I've got my usual filter here that I can either just filter by sites, which will list me all the sites, or everything else, or even by people. One of the other things you can do that this, although it's a SharePoint landing page and groups, Office 365 groups is based on SharePoint site, this results set also contains some of the group sites which can be very hard to tell in terms of what is a SharePoint site or what is a Office 365 group site, or even its related content. So if I just modify this query here by typing in site template equals group and hit enter, then you can see there that it's given me a site called product launch, which I know it's an Office 365 group, and for that particular group the related files that there are. So it's narrowed the results for me straight away by doing that. I think in terms of the enhancements for this in the future is going to come, so being able to sort of separate that search out, but for now in terms of the find that I had, which was through one of my SharePoint community chap in Belgium, Elios, he found this links, which was quite handy. So very handy to separate between the search results between Office 365 groups and SharePoint site. So we'll just head over back to the site analytics page. So if I click on SharePoint here again, it'll take me back to where we were. So now if I'm able to go into, let's say, employee site, so if I go to employee, which is just like an intranet page here, but in particular I just want to continue focusing on the site analytics. So if I go to site contents, then one of the things I can get here is the site visits and the trending contents around our documents rather as well. But in particular, if I click on the subsites tab, then I've got 3 subsites within the employee site, and for each of the subsites it also displays me the number of views almost instantly as a snapshot. So I'm now able to zoom in just through site contents and being able to find out the status of the performance of these sites. If I just hover over the site names here, there's ellipses or 3 dots there as well. I can click on that and navigate to the site contents for that particular subsite. Then it'll give me the same sort of site content page. This one has got obviously its own stats. So I've got 7 visits, I've got 2 documents that's really becoming that's really popular. In particular, it tells me how many views I've had for each of those documents. So very, I mean, that's a very quick tour of the analytics side of things in terms of the information you can have, and I think that alone, for me personally, I think answers a lot of questions around dealing with information that's very recent, that's very relevant to me, and being able to search and being able to have that information within me. It's a great benefit to get to that. Okay, so we'll now head over to for the modern document library experiences. So I'm just going to go back to SharePoint landing page, and so we'll go over to a Office 365 group called Online Marketing. So by default, when you go to the Office 365 group, it will always default to your files, which can be accessed through number of apps, either through Outlook or even a OneDrive. So while we're here in terms of this particular document library, so this document library as well as SharePoint document library looks exactly the same. So much of the demo that I'm going to do here for this Office 365 group just for document library applies to the SharePoint document library. So as you can see, obviously, I mean, because it's a group, so I've got the members displayed here. So in a SharePoint site, you wouldn't have that there. Having said that, and especially with the recent announcements, SharePoint, every Office 365 group will get a SharePoint site, and so the integration has become even more closer and tighter, and so much of this functionality you see is going to be available either through SharePoint or Office 365 groups. So a massive convergence there. So let's just quickly just go on to the document library. So I have a list of documents, nothing special there other than listing the files there, but some of the notable changes you see here is the ribbon's gone, and what you have is just the command menu buttons here as well. So if I click on this particular file here, then obviously I've got context sensitive bars there. Some of the new things you can see there is, for example, I can pin the document to the top. So if I click on that, then that's what it's going to do. I can maybe pin another one, let's say launch event planning. Oops, excuse me, didn't want to do that. I should have just click on the file and then pin to top again. So yeah, basically, so I'm able to pin the documents. So anybody who comes to this document library, I've got the headline highlighted in documents that's more important than I feel that serves to the group. So I can pin them to the top. If I then, if I want to move that document to the right, then I can pin that to the right as well. So I can move these documents left or right, either way. A couple of things I can do is I can either move that launch event planning document. I can move to a different or a new folder, or I can even copy them from one to another. So you can do another number of things. Then obviously there was recently an announcement as well that you'll soon be able to copy files from OneDrive into SharePoint, or even SharePoint to SharePoint site as well. So some of the changes are coming on the way. If I just uncheck that one, and then if you can create your normal documents, but one of the new things you get is you can now create a new link as well. So I created the link earlier today, so a link to Microsoft.com website, which just puts like a stub, if you like, of a document as a link, and then I can even have that that link also pinned to the top here as well, like so. So at least I can have my links at the top. That helps navigate to the users. Okay, so that's basically the document library side of things. Again, again within the document library, I'm able to sort of navigate to the actual property information pane. So in particular for this particular, maybe not the link, but for the launch event presentation. So it tells me the properties. So if I have any other additional metadata, I'm able to fill that out if that was listed in here. Also tells me some of the recent activities. So maybe this is not a good document here. Perhaps maybe that one there. Well, the changes would be the information that would display would be same as what I had before in the site. So if that particular document's gone through a lot of change, it will tell me who's modified, who's viewed it, and so forth. Okay, so that's document library. I'm now going to head over to the SharePoint list, which if I go into, again I'll go to the SharePoint landing page and go over to the contextual beta. So here's a standard team site, and in here I've actually got a list created already, which is called Toy Financials Sample. Sorry, beg your pardon, wrong list. It's a library rather. That's the one, Toy Financials. So this is a SharePoint list. Much of it looks like a document library. For example, some of the things I can do as well as document library, I'm able to sort of adjust the columns like so. I can click anywhere in the screen here and right click, and gives me all the options that I can do, either to create a new list item or quick edit, and you can see even integration with Power Apps as well. So I can do quite a lot of things in here in terms of around that. And I think a couple of things I wanted to touch on here is the flow and power apps. So flow, I've got a slide later on in the presentation which I can go through some of it, but what I would like to sort of demonstrate if possible here is basically be able to create a mobile app, if you like, based on a power app. So all this app will do is be able to surface this data that I have. So it's a basic financials data with the name of the sector, country, the name of the products, price, units, sales, and so on. So if I go and say create an app, so it gives me that option, and I'll say create me a mobile app. That's called, let's give a friendly name, toy mobile app. Go ahead and create that. So in the background it's going to try and create that data connection, and also be able to then create the screens, which in particular will be like your list screens as well as detail screens. And you can see that this is just a browser, it's just a web version of Power Apps. There's also a Windows app version which you can use, but again, without writing any kind of code, I'm able to sort of surface that data. And so you can have virtually, if you go to like a data that's in constant use, required by everybody, then basically you can do this. So this has produced me a screens here. So I've got a browser screens here, detail screen, as well as the I'm able to edit. So I've got 3 screens, 3 controls created there. I can choose the styling here, the layouts, but I won't go in much detail than that, other than to say, finally when the ultimate the app is done, and this is just a basic layout, but it'll obviously allow you to do things and be able to view data within that. So very handy to surface that SharePoint list into the into this app, and then I'm able to go into the file there. And I had one earlier, so in terms of you can actually go in here and then be able to sort of set some of the app properties, browse the icons to it, and all sorts. So once you've done that, then obviously I can share that to other people in the organization, or I can just allow the whole organization to access it as well. So I can do a number of things there. And then once I've done those changes, then basically I can I'm just going to close that for now. So if I just bring the address bar back, so if I go in here, toy mobile app, and if I go back to my all items, so my list is still here, but instead of that toy mobile app that I've just created now appears as as alongside with the views as well. So it's almost like a different type of view, but it's a powerful view that allows you to connect through your mobile app from anywhere, as long as you got access to it and be able to see that data. So very quick demo there, if you like, of Power Apps in terms of to surface that data, and then you can do a lot more with that by introducing flow and build some logic around that. So that's basically the SharePoint list. And the next things I wanted to cover was things like around the site pages, so some of the latest developments that we've had. So it's just going to go to the site, and just going to stay in here and go back to the pages. So pages library, so something that we've been used to before. You're able to create either a wiki page or wiki part page, but you can now create a different type of page called site page, which has got some new layouts, the web parts that you can actually embed. So we'll go ahead and just do that. So here's the screen for creating a new page. I'll name my page, going call it Collab 365 page. I can then just click on here and select my web parts. One of the things you can see here is you can add a site activity, so depending on the purpose of the page, the kind of web parts, so we can just go ahead and add site activity. And then this site activity page, it looks very identical to what we saw earlier in the site contents analytics page, and being able to do that. If you wanted to configure, and this is probably not a web part that allows you to configure, but if you wanted to configure, you just click on that configure element, and you can see no settings to change for this web part. At least for now, there's nothing there. If I go ahead and add another web part, and let's say highlighted content, then straight away it's just told me things I can it's going to display. So it's displaying the tiles, recent documents, and I can go and configure that, and just as in a usual way that we configure our web parts. So for example, this is filtering by documents, but I can then have content filtered here, whether it's a page or videos or images or events. And this is not just for one list, but obviously it can come from multiple lists within this site here. So I'm able to display that information very easily. I can even add filters. So if I don't want to show every document, then I can say only show me documents that includes the keywords, or I can have content that includes the words or recently changed, added, whichever that takes your fancy, but you're able to filter those just right in there. And also you can choose the layout, either to choose those documents as cards or even as a list, like so. So very good way of displaying the highlighted content there. And once you've done that, we can then go ahead and just publish those changes. So then our change for this published Collab 365 page is there. So that's basically the new layout, if you like, in terms of doing that. The general publishing side of things, the infrastructure published pages, those changes are coming early next year in 2017. So there'll be more changes there. But for now, for site pages, you're able to sort of add your creativity to this page and make it look beautiful. Okay, so that's the quick tour of the site pages, and the next thing I wanted to quickly go over was the delve functionality. So if I go back to my SharePoint site again, and there's a site called IT Web. So just while I do that, I'm just going to close some of these windows. So one of the things you notice here is that every time you go around the SharePoint pages, new tabs now open up. So whereas I think before it would just overwrite, it would just open the existing windows, which is a good thing, but it can be a bit of a nuisance sometimes. Right, so the site I want to navigate to is IT Web. So one of the things here that we wanted to demonstrate quickly is the people experience side of things. So in particular, there's a lot of changes that's gone through Delve, which allows us to serve targeted and relevant content. So if I go to a document library, and so here's like a standard document library. If I hover on Jinmin's house, the person who's modified this document, gives me a nice little the people card, if you like, which basically displays things like around I can contact or message him, who he reports to, and what are the recent documents that he's working on. Again, this is not his personal or private documents. These are only documents that's shared to me, so that I'm only able to see those recent documents that he's working on. So very much close-knitted and a shared collaboration aspect of it. So I can at least make that informed decision, what is my colleague working on, because if I'm working on this side regularly, then it's always nice that I'm able to help him out or provide feedback or even find out more about that particular document. So that's the sort of things you can get instant snapshot of that. If I go to the actual more about that person, Jinmin, then obviously it takes me straight to the Delve page. So this page here, again, I call it like a dynamic search page in terms of serves me the context related targeted content. So it tells me about Jinmin in terms of his contact details, his profile, everything else, the person, who is he working with, what they're working on, document, all kinds of information. So there's tons of information there, and this is just a brief integration point into Delve. But also I can actually go into my analytics. So one of the things that's recently got named was, this used to be called Delve Analytics, is now called My Analytics. So really just gives you a personal, in terms of the demo data, it's very little for my account here, but as the usage is more carried out, then more of this data gets filled out. So you can see things like how much time is spent for meeting, email hours, focus hours, all sorts of things, and also in terms of who are the key contacts I usually be in contact. So that's picked up through either Skype, instant messaging, or email interactions, as well as the meeting hours and everything else. So these analytics are becoming very, very powerful, and the sort of things you can do. So again, this comprehensive data, but I think I wanted to concentrate on the SharePoint experience side of things. But for your information, the analytics is there. Okay. So last but not least, I wanted to just go through the Office 365 groups quickly, just to show you around some of the slick changes that they've been. So if I go to the group I have here, which is online marketing. So if I go to SharePoint online marketing group, so this is our document library that we were demoing earlier. So if I go into the members, this will open up Outlook and display me the members who are part of this particular group. And even again, more recently, you're able to invite a guest external to the organization to participate in Office 365 group. And so that's very powerful now. So not only internal collaboration, but you're now able to do external collaboration more freely and efficiently as possible. So typically a group is basically, as I call it, a collaboration box that basically holds all the group conversations, the files related to this group, as well as a shared calendar and a notebook as well. With that also comes the planner. So if you create a planner is basically a task management system, if you like. So if you're used to with other apps like Trello or other kind of things. So in this particular case, I've got a number of tasks here that are assigned to individuals, and in terms of categorized in various boards, if you like, and being able to do so. I can say, okay, yes, I get it. I'm able to freely switch around the task like so, and maybe put this task here, or maybe bring this one here. It's not quite finished yet, so I'll do that. If it's finished, then I'll say, okay, US positioning framework, yes, that's complete. So then that disappears from my list. So you can do lots of things with Planner, and being able to sort of get that visual look and feel around what's going on with this particular group and the tasks involved. So very powerful. The interface is changed recently as well, and yeah, so there's a lot more in the planner there as well. So all integrated within here without having to leave anywhere else to go. And so I just wanted to make sure that that's the quick tour of the SharePoint experiences. So if I just jump back to the slides, and Okay, so much of the demo that I've done are in the screenshots. Just wanted to make sure a couple of things I wanted to touch on there was there's some mobile apps for SharePoint. So I wanted to just show you what that looks like. So, okay, sorry, I should go back to the flow as I promised earlier. So flow is, if you like a workflow tool, which is basically using the approach of if this, then that. So you can see the example, some of the things here. Not only you're able to connect within the Office 365 environment, but you're also able to connect externally, like for example Dropbox or Trello or anything like that, or Wunderlist, SurveyMonkey, and so on. So you can do things like, for example, let's say save my email attachments to a SharePoint document library by creating a flow for that particular for that library. You can do that. And so really these are almost like your rules that you can set on your content. So being able to automate some of your content very easily through the use of Microsoft Flow. So again, very quick way of managing your information efficiently. We went through the Power Apps, the building of it, and we also covered the site pages. So yeah, SharePoint Mobile App. So same sort of, very slick. This is very new in terms of the mobile app. So I'm able to browse through my sites. I'm just going to bring the highlighter pen, laser pointer. Okay, so yeah, I can quickly go through the sites and being able to go and navigate to each particular site, like say Office 365 SharePoint Online. Then within this site here, I'm able to see the activity, particularly what's trending, what's the state of that document when it was viewed, and I'm able to also share it as well, or even favorite this particular site. I'm also able to create within this SharePoint mobile app, I'm able to create a list or a document library, and also search with the people. So very, very rich app in terms of what you can do. So again, if I'm on the move and independent of where I'm working, I'm able to get to my information very quickly and very easily. So we went through the people experience our things with that and Delve. And Office 365 groups. So one of the things to note is also it supports Power BI as well as Dynamics CRM Online. So groups and SharePoint site now, just as I said earlier, that you also get a SharePoint site with every group you create. So that change is not present in my tenant yet, but it's rolling out. And soon, if you have multiple Office 365 groups in your tenant, then every one of those groups will get a SharePoint site, as well as for every SharePoint site you create, there will be a Office 365 group. We went through this search earlier on, the difference between all the SharePoint and group content on the left here, as well as the just the Office 365 groups. So with Office 365 groups, you get a mobile app called, incidentally it's called Outlook Groups. So you can browse to a particular group. In this particular example I've got is website development. I can access to the files or notebook, in which case it will open up either a OneDrive app or even a OneNote app as well. Able to view my tasks as we saw earlier. I'm able to comment on them or like them, whichever it is, as well as I'm able to search through people and also go to the actual groups itself in terms of more information around that. The RSS here is using the connector, which is part of the Office 365 group. So I'm able to connect third-party systems like Slack or RSS feeds or Twitter or what have you, and being able to sort of subscribe to some of the most relevant content that may live outside of Office 365 and be able to bring that into the Office 365 group easily. And it's all done authenticated securely as well. So only information gets presented if I have access to being able to surface that data. One thing to note about external sharing is by default you have to switch it on in terms of the external sharing for inviting the guests to the Office 365 group. In general, for SharePoint sites, yes, there is a sharing kind of enabled for the tenant level, but you as a end user, if you're a site collection administrator, you're able to set your own external sharing capability so that you're not just completely baked in for your internal collaboration, but also being able to control what kind of external sharing you can do. So the flexibility is there now. And more recently, there was an announcement around mobile push notifications as well, so that if you share a document or a library, then the mobile notification can be received as well. So number of ways to subscribe to the information there. And just recently at the Microsoft Ignite event, the SharePoint, so this slide is from the SharePoint sessions there that was presented. So you can see on the left hand side number of things that's already been out with the SharePoint experiences and what's coming for the later in the year as well as next year. So a couple of things, intelligent people cards, I'm looking forward to that, as well as this it's a next gen thing of team sites. So I think the old Groove version, if you like, is going and a new one is coming in, so that synchronization of files will be a lot more efficient. So I'm looking forward to that, as well as the publishing the sites as well. So there's going to be a major update on that. So a lot more to look forward. By all means, this user interface is constantly changing, so just have to be really focused around the modern SharePoint online experiences. And these are some of the ways you can stay connected to the ever-changing landscape of Office 365. And there's recently a Microsoft Tech Community, a new forum where you can ask questions and get answers to yours. So there's no Yammer networks for Office 365. So head over there if you haven't been already, and hopefully you'll find all the great information and updates there as well. And with that, I'd just like to say thank you for being part of my session, and hope you found that session very useful. And once again, thanks to Collab 365 Global Conference 2016 team. And the slides will be available soon, and I'll take your questions and answers if you have any. Once again, thank you very much.